We know we ask a lot from our patron and support network, and we are always so grateful for your generosity. In these challenging times, it's even harder to raise the funding we need to serve our community and achieve our goals. So we're always looking for new ways to maintain our revenue without adding additional burdens to our supporters. Today, we're excited to share a great opportunity that can really help our community and requires no additional out-of-pocket from you. We've partnered with the Liberty Company Insurance Brokers and their Liberty Cares program. Liberty Cares is simple. You already make monthly payments for your insurance needs, whether it's auto, home, or for your business. For every line of insurance you move to Liberty, they will donate 25% of the commissions they receive on your policies back to our cause. And under this special partnership arrangement, that donation will come to us again and again every year you keep your policy with Liberty. Often, you'll be able to move your insurance into this program simply by signing one form. It's that easy. The Liberty Company is one of the nation's largest insurance brokers, and they've won a number of recognitions for their excellent operations and workplace culture, so you can rest assured that you will be well taken care of. If you would like to learn more about how this new partnership with Liberty can help turn your insurance dollars into much-needed funds for our community, please visit libertycompany.com/libertycares, or shoot them an email at libertycares@libertycompany.com. And please be sure to let them know that you're part of our community so that they will credit the benefit of your policies back to our organization. Your ongoing support is much appreciated, so thank you in advance.
Oh.
Happy Friday, Maddie.
Center at Home with Matt and Navah. Hello.
Happy Friday, everyone.
Good afternoon. This is October 2nd, 2020. Is it still 2020?
I know.
It's still 2020.
I can't believe it's October. Well, it is 102 degrees out today. So I'm still riding the summer wave. We have Hawaii behind us. I'm riding the summer wave. I'm not going to give summer away.
We got the homeland. We got the homeland behind us.
Oh, man.
Ohana.
Oh, please don't. Look how red his face is. Can anybody see how red this man's face is?
I love teasing my wife. It's fun.
Mm.
So I haven't slept in a week and a half.
Yes.
And so I'm
we have
here.
A new baby. I bounced back very quickly, but
if you watched the mental health check-in show that we do on Tuesdays, I was a guest. What? Is that right?
Yeah, Tuesdays.
Okay. Was I a guest?
Well, you were introducing.
No, it was the last one. It was the last. It was the last one of these that I was like off the rails, wasn't it?
You were off the rails. Like you have a lot to prove this week.
I have a lot.
You have a lot to make up. But we introduced our new amazing baby therapy dog in training, Panda.
Yes.
Panda girl, who Matt unfortunately has been given the night shift because I do not do well on a lack of sleep. You can handle it better than I can. Let's just put it that way.
Yes, but I'm the result of that is that I'm in an altered state most of the day now, and anything could happen. So you could see something strange happen here. I apologize in advance, but you never know what's going to happen, right?
Yes, but she's worth it. She's so worth it, don't you think? Panda.
Who's that? No, I'm kidding. I'm just joking. No, she's amazing. I
apologize.
She's amazing, and it's wonderful to see this dog start responding to you. And we've taught her to sit and to go down, and she's only 10 weeks old, and that's pretty amazing that she can.
And
do
she's
that.
getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Mom was 90 pounds. Dad was 110. She's going to be a big old sheepdog.
But I think the thing that frustrates me is like taking her out at 3 a.m.
in our coyote laden.
And being out there with all the strange sounds and the aloneness and the quietness as well, and having her just sit down on the grass and say, "I'm just going to sit here for a while." I'm like, no, don't do that. Don't sit on the grass. Let's go. Right.
Well, it's going to be all worth it. It's going to be all worth it. And she is an amazing addition to the Brady Bunch of autism, and we're very happy to have her in our lives. This is the hard part. We're getting through the hard part.
It's all going to be okay. I keep telling myself that. It's all going to be okay.
Well, that should be everyone's mantra right now.
Right. Exactly. 3 little birds.
Yeah.
So, okay. So our first guest, as always, is the incredible Chelsea Darnell. And we're going to do our little talk on...
Who is our host of the Ed Asner Family Center Social Club. She's
our social director.
The red carpet extraordinaire.
That's right.
And she hosts the amazing 18 and Over Social Club movie chat every week, which has become such a fun and really amazing event.
And what are we seeing this week? What are we watching this week?
So tomorrow we're going to be discussing Back to the Future Part 2. The first Back to the Future was one of our very first movie chat movies. So we're doing the second one. If you haven't watched the first movie, you are totally free to do that. But for the sake of tomorrow, we will be discussing Part 2 of the Back to the Future franchise.
Cool.
But I mean,
I don't think I saw that one.
It's the one where they actually go to the future.
Yeah, it's the one where they actually go to like the future.
Yeah. I haven't seen that one.
And Marty gets on the hovercraft skateboard and all that. Hoverboard. Yeah, I actually like that one. I thought that was fun. Except it's kind of funny to see what the 80s future looks like. Isn't it?
It's very interesting because they got some stuff right and they got some stuff totally wrong. The hoverboards are wrong, but there's a scene where they do like a video conference.
Yep.
And it's totally right. Like they totally got that right.
So now if someone wants to join you, what do they do?
You can either message me on Facebook, I'm Chelsea Darnell, or you can email our friend Shelby at teafc.org to RSVP.
And she will let you in. You have to be invited in, and we do that for security reasons. So
we got to. Unfortunately, in the Zoom world, we have to do that.
Yep.
So Chelsea, let's get into it. We have a lot going on in entertainment this week. Some good, some bad, some sad. But you start off with the Demi Lovato kind of. It was all exciting, and I love Demi Lovato. I love everything. I love her strength. I love everything she stands for. And we were all kind of rooting for her and like her happily ever after. What happened?
Okay, so what happened was she was engaged to this guy named Max Eric. I don't really know what he does, but what happened is that they were engaged. They are no longer engaged. Max Eric said he claimed that he found out about the breakup through the news and the tabloids. Ooh. However, Demi Lovato went on to say that he's lying, he's not telling the truth, that they did talk about it, and that it's a really nasty breakup. Basically, everything he said was a lie. He didn't find out over the tabloids. They actually talked about it. Because I thought to myself, there's no way Demi would do something petty like that. Like, I should have known he was lying from the get-go.
Mm-hmm. Well,
what a jerk.
I mean, you're not starting out on a great footing, my opinion is, because, you know, she's a performer. She goes out all the time. She's never at home. That's a very difficult...
You're blaming Demi?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's a difficult road to go down.
Here's the thing. That's why they apparently broke up for career reasons. And I think that's the truth. But the boyfriend, the fiance, I mean, decided to be petty and essentially lie and say, oh, I found out through the tabloids, when in fact they had actually talked about their breakup.
Yeah, he was trying to make her seem like the bad guy when in fact she's the opposite. I mean, everyone who has ever had a connection with her knows that
but Dad worked with her. He'll tell you that she was one of the best people he's ever worked with. He did Demi judged X Factor for a season. When the guy was still working on it, he met her and he thought she was great. She was great to work with.
And her platform is about bullying too. So the last thing in the world she's going to do.
He would never go that low. Like, I think the lowest she's ever gone was when she beat up a backup dancer, but that was because at the time she was going through drug addiction. So you have to take it into context. But I don't think she would do something petty like her ex-fiance would claim. So I think she's telling the truth and he's lying.
Okay, well, we have two pro Demis to his thumbs down. So we're all in for Demi. We're behind you and we support you, and you know, better move on from that guy, because he sounded like he wasn't very nice to begin with.
Yeah.
But so the other story this week we wanted to talk about is really, really upsetting and very, very sad. And it really made me sad and mad, because I've been in this experience before. And Chrissy Teigen had a very problematic pregnancy with her third baby.
She was pregnant. So she was pregnant with her third child. Her and John Legend were going to have their third baby. Fortunately, there was some bleeding. There was stuff they were hoping it would work out. But unfortunately, if I'm not mistaken, they had to induce the birth for the baby as a stillborn. So she did lose her third child. She was very, I guess the reason why her miscarriage story is so not like irrelevant, so to speak, is because she was very public about it. She posted a picture of her holding her stillborn baby.
Right.
And she was open in a way that not a lot of women would be. And I think some people criticized her for that. They thought she was being too personal or too personal about stuff, or too graphic. I personally think she did a service by telling her story in the way people knew how.
And it happens to women all the time. Mm-hmm. And, you know, for her to say, you know, I'm a famous, rich person, and this can happen to anybody. I think it is doing women who have been through this horrible thing a service. But the onslaught of horrible people, and a lot of even the I don't know even how to say it, QAnon
that's
supporters
good.
That were saying things like you know, really horrible things. Some of it I can't even repeat. It was so horrible.
I don't even want to know.
About she and her husband being like, you know, horrible. I don't even want to say it, but evil people who would write to a woman who's in such a time of just heartbreak, and to attack her in any regard. To me, I'm ready to go fight these people that would write that.
You know what Schadenfreude is?
Yes.
You know what Schadenfreude is?
What's that?
You know what Schadenfreude is?
Who? What?
Schadenfreude.
He's showing off his Yiddish right now.
I think it's German. I don't think it's
It is Yiddish.
But Schadenfreude is when you enjoy someone's misfortune. It's when people get into people's misfortune, when they celebrate someone's misfortune. And I think right now, as a society, we are embracing of Schadenfreude. I think there's something wrong with us right now. And I think we kind of are off kilter. I'm not going to say why, because I'm just not going to go into that. But I could, but I'm not going to. But I think we've entered this world of Schadenfreude, and we've somehow lost our way. And I think that
and a sense of humanity.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you know,
person
we've got to start rooting for each other again, and caring about each other.
Yeah, it's either people are too happy with the situation, or like it's like when someone's going through joy, they try to bring it down. When somebody's going through sadness, they try to make it their personal gain.
Right.
And that sucks. And if you're a public figure like Chrissy Teigen is, and it happens to you more than it does to most people. And I think it's especially brave that as a public figure, she was able, like, when you're a public figure, you unfortunately, unintentionally open yourself to really cruel people. So she honestly, I wish she didn't have to risk a lot by telling her story, but she did. So I think she was really doing a service by what she did yesterday and the other day.
Me too, Chelsea. And I just think that, you know, there were so many moms like myself who sent her love and understanding and caring and prayers. And I think the overwhelming response was support and love.
Oh, yeah, and for sure.
We just send her so much love, all of us here together, because we can't imagine. Well, I can imagine, but we can't give her any more love than what we can send her, and just I can't. It's a horrible situation.
I agree.
And
it's nightmarish. And
we're thinking of them.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, that's heavy stuff.
Switching gears.
So we're gonna go back to movie chat.
Yeah.
It's
7:00.
Give us a wrap up, Chelsea, of movie chat. It's tomorrow night at 7.
Tomorrow night, 7:00 Pacific Standard Time. We'll be discussing Back to the Future Part 2. Email Shelby at teafc.org, or you can message me on my Facebook, and I'll let her know. And yeah, be sure to tune in.
I'm sorry.
All the movies we worked on Movie Chat are available on Netflix.
Okay. So go
Chelsea.
for it. It's great. This is like our, I don't know, what is this, like 16th week or something like this? 20th week? Something like that, right?
Maybe. I'm not sure. I've lost track.
Yeah. But
Chelsea, excuse me. I went down the wrong pipe. Chelsea, did you want to talk this week or next week about your special Halloween movie chat?
Oh yes, maybe when it gets closer to Halloween, I'll discuss that. But I'll give you a hint. Movie Chat will be having a Halloween. Movie Chat happens to fall on Halloween, so we will be doing something Halloween related, which I will talk about in a couple of weeks.
all right. Exciting.
I'm sorry. I'm having an allergy attack.
All right. Movie chat, 7:00 Saturday. We'll see you then.
Thank you.
Love you,
Okay,
Chelsea.
bye,
Have a
Chelsea.
great weekend. Sorry about that.
Have you been hanging out with Trump?
I know. I knew you were going to make a Trump reference. No, I have the world's worst allergies, and I'm trying to take my cough drop.
Oh,
I'm not sick.
Okay. All
I'm
right.
just having an
Well,
allergy
so
attack.
anyone who hasn't been to the movie chat, they should go. It's a lot of fun, and it's not just about the movie. It's about just getting together and talking to people and hanging out,
And now I have a candy in my mouth.
doing those things. So, so our next guest. Okay,
Sorry.
sorry.
Just vomiting in the corner.
Our next guest is an amazing friend of ours, and it's exciting to have her on. And what I'm told that we're having some technical difficulties. Hopefully, we're getting through them, but hopefully, people can hear us. Hopefully, we're not freezing.
Well, I've known Kat for even longer than you, I think, because we used to come to Surfers Healing.
Yeah,
many years.
well, and I met her I think I met her
Well, maybe it was around the same time.
at Surfers Healing. I think that's the first time.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Oh, then I definitely
think so.
met her before you.
I think so. And anyway, we're gonna bring in Kat Marciano. She's got an incredible story that I really thought was important for people to listen to and to hear. She's gone through a lot, and we're going to talk to her about her experience with this incredible journey she's been on. So we're going to bring her in now. And Kat,
Hi.
how are you?
Hi.
It's been a long time.
Wow.
All the way from New Jersey.
I have my surfboard up there.
Yay.
So I'm trying to think. I think the first time I met you was at Surfers Healing. I think is.
I don't know.
Or the walk.
Maybe the walk.
I think
maybe
because
the
I
walk.
remember that you were,
Okay.
David, I remember, I'm pretty sure it was the walk.
Okay.
And then we all did the light it up. Remember we were at that light up, there was some concert
Light Up the
that
Blues.
but we had a screening.
At
and
CAA.
You guys were,
Yeah,
I remember that one.
That was when we shot it for Netflix,
Right.
or not on Netflix, on Apple TV. So anyway, Kat,
Oh, yeah.
you've had an incredible journey with your son Marcello, and we've known you for many years, and you've had a long road with Marcello. Marcello's had a rough time. You've had a rough time, and you're finally in a place where things are really going really well. And I just, you never gave up. You never give up. You never gave up. And we just want to talk to you about that road and decisions you made and how you decided to actually move in from California, what happened in California. So let's start with just talking a little bit about Marcello and telling us who Marcello is.
Okay. Well, I just now came back from seeing him. That's where I was. I drove down to see him. I'm in lovely New Jersey. He is down by Philadelphia. And can you hear me?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We can.
My computer is doing weird things. My computer is just talking to me. Sorry.
We can hear you.
It's okay. I let her know that it's okay. I'll talk to her later. He's doing amazing. He's probably doing better than he has in years. And you're right. It was a really long trek from where I was to where I am now. And it was a lot of decision making and a lot of double guessing myself along the way. For people who don't know me, my story is that I was living in California with Marcello. Marcello is a severely impacted autistic gentleman. He's 19 now, 19 and a half. And he is pretty nonverbal. I don't want to say he's fully you never say someone's fully nonverbal. He's got some version of language. But he had somewhere around 2017, he lost his schooling in California, and it became his story became really complicated, and he was at home, and we couldn't place him in California, and California became a very difficult, very I'm trying. How much do you want me to tell you, and how much do you want me to? Am I free to say whatever I want to say here?
You can say whatever you want.
Absolutely.
Even bad words.
There's no editing here.
Okay, great. So I would say California has a long way to go in terms of disabilities. In fact, I would say California, shame on California, shame on them. Like now that my head is starting to come on straight, I'm starting to write pieces. I'm starting to formulate a series of pieces that I'm going to try and write as op-eds, and very specifically geared towards pointing the finger mostly at California, because that was where my experience was, but some of the other states as well, because I think the legislation, it really needs to start happening because it's so uneven. I, as a parent, had to go and find a different state. I had to uproot myself, give everything up, and move to a different state for my child, because I couldn't. The options in California for him were really dire. In 2017, he came home from school with a broken collarbone, completely beat from head to foot. That was how he came home from school. And then within a week, the school kicked him out and blamed. I mean, I knew they were going to do it. His lawyers were like, they're not going to do that. I was like, yes, they are. And they were like, you're paranoid. And I was like, okay. And sure enough, they kicked him out. And then I was on this sort of crazy roller coaster from there on out. And the more he stayed home, the more difficult it became, because he became more and more dysregulated. Mm-hmm. And so with a child like that, unless he's got a lot of supports around him, California doesn't have a great system of supports for parents who have kids at home. So this then starts to go into kids who end up on the cliff as well.
And for those that don't know what the cliff is, let's just explain that. So when you turn 22 in the world of disability, you fall off what is called the cliff, because that's when services end. That's when they cease. And that's when it becomes much more difficult to facilitate any kind of service, especially in the state of California. I'm not sure if that actually, there's a cliff in other states, but
yeah, it's everywhere.
Yeah, but the age is 22 from the most part.
The age is 22 everywhere, and so at 22, you're basically somehow or another. Every state has a system set up so that you fall under children's care. So you're considered a child until 22, and then 22, everything sort of stops. You go into what would be Medicare, the Department of Disabilities, regular Department of Disabilities, and there's not a lot set up for you there. So, and I don't I don't know if you guys have seen what's, I mean, again, there was such a tragedy in California recently. Are you guys still there? Yeah, am I here by myself?
Yes, we're still here. We're still here.
Can I bring up what just happened in California?
With feta. Yeah.
So the tragedy that happened with feta was, I don't know if you talked about feta on here.
We have a show that we're honoring her on Monday, but
okay, so
feta
was one of the people in our community who was very active. She had a son very much like Marcello, like my son. Yes. And feta is me. I am feta. We are one and the same. I was in the house the same way feta was in that house with her son.
Yeah.
And I can tell you numerous times where I was under the similar circumstances where I had to keep thinking to myself, what am I going to do when my versions, I have different versions, but similar stories. Feta had a house fire and her son perished in the house fire last week. And I can't help but feeling that had the state of California had better system of care in place, better system of support in place for her, she would have had people in place and she would not have been alone and she would have had supports there and she would have not been under those circumstances. And I really feel like this cannot go unanswered at this point. Mm-hmm. It cannot be a tragedy that we don't speak to now.
Especially because she fought so hard for so many years for all the other families. And now we have to make sure that that tragedy never happens to another mom. It can never happen to another mother.
I just want to tell you, Navah, that I 100% agree with you on this, but back in around 20, I don't know, it must have been around 2015 or so, when my child was at Speech and Language Development Center in Buena Park, there was a child on the bus. Another one of these stories. There was a child on the bus and they forgot him on the bus and he died in the heat on the bus.
Of heat stroke. Yeah. I remember that case.
Okay. It happened again. Okay. It happened. I'm just saying the problem with disabilities is we're not counted. A disabled person is not when Marcello was beat up and came home with a broken collarbone, I went to 5 different attorneys in the state of California to ask them to take it as a civil liberties case. And they told me they couldn't take it because 1, Marcello doesn't speak, and 2, he doesn't have enough value. Oh I'm not kidding. And do you want to know something? Recently, a child was put in the same hold Marcello was put in, and he died.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And for the first time ever, the district attorney is bringing a suit. And I don't know what it's going to take to make a point that the state of California, it is a liberal state, needs to freaking step it. The same taxes that are being paid in California, same 10% is being paid here. Yeah. We're at the highest level of tax paying here that you're paying there. And I'm talking, this is all politics I'm talking, but I cannot help it. What happened to feta this week, I mean, the whole reason I'm coming to talk to you guys, less about my story and more about the big story, which has to be addressed at this point. I got Marcello out of California. In those 3 years, I had police officers at my door. They were coming to my door on a regular occasion, pointing their guns in my house at my child because neighbors were calling because they heard him. Even though I had called police department and asked them to put a blue light on my house, mark my house, that it's an autism house, they were showing up, the same officers. I would have to walk outside and say, put your gun down. He's autistic. If you walk into this house, he's going to charge you. Put your gun down. They would say, well, I can't put my gun down. I'd say, if you don't put your gun down, I'm going to make sure you go to jail. You put your gun down. I mean, it would be a fight. I mean, a fight. I would get between me and their gun. I would put my mother's body between me and their gun. I mean, it was ridiculous.
And this is just what happened just recently in Colorado or Utah, where the mom had the exact same situation, and the police shot her son 7 times, a 13-year-old son. Exactly the same issue. I mean, it was the same thing. I know that
what I did.
You know, that's happened with Israel's son quite a few times, because Isaiah's a big guy too.
Of course. And I think about Isaiah all the time.
I know, that's Feda's son reminded me. I mean, Mohammed reminded you of Marcello, and he reminded me of Eddie, and he reminds me of Isaiah. I mean, he is, and Feda is the paradigm to all of us as the ultimate mother. And I'm
going to tell you, so there was a story where right when Marcello got big, he was probably about 185, 200 pounds. And I went to a party at a very big Disney producer's house. And it wasn't actually a party. It was just a get together. It was like, there was only a couple of us there. And nobody was in the backyard. Nobody was there. It was just me and Marcello. Marcello was in the pool. And he stepped off. There was a ledge in the pool. And he stepped off that ledge. And he sank to the bottom of their deep end, which was 20 feet deep.
Wow.
And there was no one there. It was just me. And I jumped in after him. I didn't think. I didn't stop. I didn't take off my shoes. I literally went head first in after him. I have some lifeguarding experience from my youth. I actually knew the trouble I was about to get into. I knew that a person like that could bring me down with them. And sure enough, that's exactly what he did at 20 feet below. He grabbed me, pulled me under, got on top of me, and wouldn't let me up. And I thought, oh, great. Now I've put us both in a situation we're going to both drown down here. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I had completely forgotten that story because I have so many of them until I heard Feda's story. And I cried for 3 days, and then that story came up, and I thought, I have so many of those traumas in my life. Like Marcello, I brought Marcello from California to New Jersey. I placed him in a school called Bancroft. It's like a 1 in a million school. Like, why is there only one like this? Right. Why did I have to search the entire United States for one place for him? There are 30 other children waiting for his spot.
And let me just say, you did that. You did search the United States. You traveled the United States. You looked at all these different places.
I did.
You had him in a few too. And
I did.
I remember, I think you were in Kansas, were you not?
I went to Kansas. I went to Kansas because Los Angeles, the school district would only place him in Kansas. So I went to Kansas, and Kansas said, we can do this. And then in 3 weeks, they called me up and were like, come get him. We can't do this. They didn't know what they were doing. Yeah. And there's only a couple places in the US that actually knew what to do. And this was one of them. And, you know, I'm going to tell you, as a private pay placement in this place, it's $60,000 a month.
Yeah.
A month?
Yeah, babe.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I could not get California to back me in any way, shape, or form. And so I had to kind of get myself here. And then New Jersey wouldn't back me. The school district in New Jersey wouldn't back me.
And you had to go to court.
I did go to court. And then they took me apart too in court. They took me apart in court. They said I was trying to get over on them, that this is me getting over. And then a miracle happened, which is like I said, there's the Department of Developmental Disabilities, and then there's that in between. Like we have regional center in California. They have something called Children's System of Care here. It's called Preferred Care. I got a phone call from the head of Preferred Care here. And she said, we have heard your story. We are so appalled that no one should go through what you have gone through for the last 10 years. We are going to make it right. We are, And they took a process that was something that would probably take a year for me to get through. And they did it literally on the phone with me. And he was already in the school, and they shifted him and they put him in a Department of Developmental Disabilities bed. And they have stepped up, and New Jersey has taken over the care of Marcello.
Thank God.
And it's it's like, it's a complete mitzvah. It's a miracle, I can't.
Oh, you guys deserve that miracle after all of this.
Really
I remember, hearing your stories for all these years, and the ups and the downs and
he goes to the school, he walks in. The first thing they say to me is, like, when I took him to Kansas, they were like, you have to leave him and leave, and you can't talk to him for a month. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. And they basically traumatized him.
Yeah.
When I got to Bancroft, they said to me, look, we need a list of all his traumas. I was like, well, that's going to take forever. And they were like, well, let's start with Kansas. Kansas traumatized him. So let's talk about all the ways he's been traumatized, because we're going to address that. And sure enough, they address the trauma with him. They don't just assume that because he can't speak, he doesn't have trauma. They don't take things away from him. They don't punish him. They don't force him. They still have to do holds on him. But when they do, it's completely civilized. Like, there's 7 people. They all come around him. One person talks to him. The other 6 of them hold him. They all talk to him, and they talk him down. They let him know he's okay. They give him options. It's done very quickly. They have a methodical system. They never put them on their face. They never do it haphazardly. It went from, he instantly stopped having issues. Hey, buddy. He instantly stopped having issues. Instantly. Like, he's gone from, in Kansas, he was having, like, they said, 20, 30 times a day. And here, I might hear from them once every, I don't know, 2-3 weeks. Like, I was just walking in the door, and they called me and said, and he's only ever gets upset like when he sees somebody else getting upset. And then he has a little bit of a meltdown, and then they talk him through it, and then it's over. This is my COVID puppy, by the way.
It's like you said, though, Kat, this school has changed his life, but there are so many kids that would benefit and are waiting in this limbo because there's only one school. It's like the school Chime. There's
exactly
only one
Chime. And it shouldn't. Why is that the anomaly instead?
I don't understand it. And I said that I tried to get Eddie into Chime for 7 years, and there's only one school. Why is there only one school like this for Marcello when there's 30 kids waiting? It's a crime. I don't even understand it.
And the thing is, parents should not have to go through that. You should have that option. And that option, I've started to talk to Bancroft. I said, is there a way that there can be a teaching arm so that you can teach California, so that you can, and by the way, there's no reason why California can't have a residential facility like this. Right. California doesn't have residential facilities. They say they don't have residential facilities because they don't have safe rooms. But these guys you can't have a safe room in New Jersey as well. But you can do holds. But in California, you can do holds, but they do them improperly in California because they haven't been trained. So why can't they just do it properly and have residential facilities? Like, there's all sorts of stuff California is not doing. Meanwhile, I also think, why is this not nationwide? Why are we not talking about, so that when a parent needs to go from one state to another, like what I had to go through to take my kid from one side of the country to the other was atrocious.
It really was. I agree with you. It was.
I haven't even talked about the year of having to go in front of a probate judge because California threw me under a bus. I mean, California, So the last year that I was there, I went to the regional center for help. And the regional center, because they didn't want to pay out on Marcello, because when you have a kid like Marcello, his expenses are so high that instead of having to pay for him, they opted to go to my probate judge and say that I was an incapable parent. Now, I'm sorry. What part of me is an incapable parent at this point? Mm-hmm. Like, that seems absurd. But they went to the probate judge and said, you should take the child away from her. So don't give her take the conservatorship away from them and put the child in the care of the state. If they put the child in the care of the state, then they don't have the responsibility of having to pay. It's all dollars and cents.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and we live in a culture of no, culture of no's. No, you can't. We can't pay for it. We can't pay for it. And everyone has to fight. Everyone has to fight for their services. And
FETA had just done I haven't listened to it because I haven't been able to pull myself together enough to listen to it. But she had just done that NPR. She had done NPR where that's what she was upset about. She was upset that she wasn't getting services during COVID. And I can't tell you, since I've landed in New Jersey, I've become like the platform for parents to call. And I get numerous phone calls from people in California calling me because they're stuck with these children and they don't know what to do. And
the behaviors are increasing because everyone's locked in totally out of their regular schedule. It's a recipe for disaster for the kids. It's a recipe for disaster. And online learning and I mean, not just autism, online learning and any kind of learning disability is a complete joke. Yeah. It's just too much. It's too much for the parents. It's too much for the kids.
Yep.
Well, we're definitely not going to solve this issue today, but I will say this.
That was the heaviest of the heavy. Sorry.
But I will say this.
It's so important that people hear this.
You're a warrior. Kat.
Yes.
And what you did was incredible. You did it for your kid. And that's what it's all about. And the
question becomes, Matt, now that I'm here, like I've just been freed up. Like, this is it. It just happened. Literally just happened 3 weeks ago. So, and then the news of FETA.
Yeah.
And I feel like I really have to use this as an opportunity to start to get the word out. Like,
I feel exactly the same. It's all I think about. It's all I think about in every single post. Her sister has posted some very, very, like, the details, and every single time there's something new, and it's so personal to each one of us because we can envision our own children in that instance. And like you said with the pool, you just do it without even thinking. This is just, and FETA had just been on our show. I had been watching and listening to the Scoop, and she was really, really enjoying doing this new show that she had started, a podcast. And she had so much more to do, Yeah. No, we're going to start crying. I know. But I just feel like she had so much more that she wanted to do.
I know.
Now it's up to us to continue that, because
I can't believe that this happened for nothing. I can't.
No,
I can't believe.
I refuse to believe that, and I'm not going to allow that.
I really think that we really have to hold our state. I mean, I know I live here in New Jersey now. I'm a New Jersey resident, but I still, I lived in California pretty much my whole life with you guys, and I believe that we have to hold the state of California to the task. It's time. They don't get to walk away from this. This is on their hands, and there needs to be a really radical change in how they structure support, and it's got to come.
100%, especially for the 80%, not 80%, but for the incredibly high volume of parents who are single moms in the household, doing the best they can by
Right.
themselves. And, you know,
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's
Oh, yeah.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
I mean, I know you guys love Brady Bunch and all that, but you were there. You were there.
Of course, I was a single mom with 4 kids, and
I know.
but I mean, Feda's and Mohammed's death cannot go without. There has to be something that we have to continue.
It's up to us to carry their memory
Yeah.
forward and to continue their work and to push that forward. And
Yeah, Matt.
we have to dedicate ourselves to that. And that's why we're all here anyway.
Yeah.
That's-
The best part of the news on this is for me is that every piece of doubt that I had about everything I'd done, like all along the way, I kept thinking, what am I doing? This is so crazy. I'm giving up my life in California, giving up my writing career, although I'm not really. My writing career is fine, and I can write from New Jersey as easily as I could ever write from Los Angeles. In fact, better. But at the time I was like, what am I, this is insane. Like, I'm just leaving. I left in 1 week when I got told that the only way to get Marcello taken care of here was to be a resident here. I packed my bags and moved in 1 week. And so, but I will tell you that to visit him today, and I have dinner with him on Fridays. That's what I do. I went a little early today. I take him dinner and we sit and he has dinner, and I've never seen him so relaxed, so happy, so in his body. Like, he's now the mayor. He's the mayor. Everybody loves him. He's completely in his own element. Every doubt that I had, every piece of like all those things, the assumptions that I'm institutionalizing him. This is a mistake. What am I doing? This is a bad choice. I was inches and seconds away from having the worst things happen to him if he had stayed with me. And this gives him this opportunity to meet a lot of people, be amongst a lot of people, constantly have interchange, grow, move on. I mean, none of that would happen had I kept him in the small shell. The opportunity from here is like insane. It's like night and day.
And you made that almost impossible choice. And it is an almost impossible choice.
It is when you're in it. It is.
Of course.
It is.
Well, Kat, thank you for telling your story, and thank you for being so strong and giving people inspiration. And
guys.
Well, and we're working to create something in the center. I've been talking to Jill Escher about it, and I'm going to keep you posted on it. But Feta had so much more to do, and it's our job to continue what she was doing in her name, in Muhammad's name. It's our job to continue that. And I'm going to keep you in the loop of that.
Please do. I think you guys are amazing.
Well, you're amazing. And we're, so happy that things are working out. And when we get to New Jersey, we're going to come say hi. So
God willing,
you better. You better. I want to see you guys.
I know.
Well, until then, we'll talk to you soon.
I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for you both. Thank God.
You, Kat.
All right. Love you guys.
Love you guys.
So, unbelievable strength.
It is
unbelievable.
Strength. They went through hell and back, and now they finally are getting this light into their lives, and his quality of life is returned.
That choice that she made was an impossible choice. It is a choice that I think any parent is going to have a very difficult time making. And there's a couple of movies that talk about this a little bit, and I think Janet Grillo made a movie called Fly Away, I think it was called.
That heavy play.
Well, that too.
The star was the mom of the actual instance of
Yeah.
And my mind is totally blank thinking.
I can't think of it either.
We're horrible people. I got very emotional.
It was a beautiful
Let's
play.
bring in.
Beautiful play.
Let's bring in.
Judy
I need
Langdon.
Mr. Rogers now because Mr. Rogers needs to cheer me up. That was some heavy, sad. Our friend passed, and it's just been a very hard week. And now we need Judy to cheer us up.
We sure do. Judy.
Hi.
I'm so happy to be here with you all. But I loved all that conversation. I think.
Oh yeah, it's
even my sister talking about for my own brother. So.
Absolutely, Judy is an amazing person, and she's a sister. She has a beautiful brother on the spectrum, and
an incredible music therapist.
And she's the Ed Asner Family Center music therapist and the director of Camp Ed.
That's right.
So Judy is here today to talk to us. We talked to Aviva last week about all things art with Aviva. That's our new in-person class starting on Sunday. And Judy's going to talk to us a little bit about our next in-person class. That's every Wednesday at 4:30. And tell us a little bit about our incredible
class.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to. So Wednesdays is all about the art of music. And so Aviva and I talked about, we took a whole day just trying to think about what we could do in person in a safe environment. And Matt and Navah have created this great environment in the art room so that people can feel safe and that we're cleaning and doing everything properly. But also think what do they need to learn and what can we talk about with art and music? And that's when Aviva and I started talking about doing love languages and just talking about how we can receive love and give love, especially in the day and age that physical love or physical touch is not really super possible for every person right now. So we started with this last Wednesday. We started at 4:30 to 6, and we went over verbal. So words of affirmation. So working on what we can say to one another. And we started off with just listening to classical music and filling in the blanks of a heart and listening to the different songs and tonalities and majors and rhythms. And I just wanted each individual to just talk about what they were hearing. And sometimes that's all about verbal love or words of affirmation. Sometimes when we say something, we might mean it in the kindest way, but we might say it not so kind. And sometimes music is the same way. We hear things, especially in classical music, there's no words. So we can only really perceive what we're hearing and creating what is that emotion behind it, and then bringing it back. Okay, well, how can this be happy, or how can this be, maybe it's kind of scary, or different different music. I definitely picked different minors and majors and different rhythms to just kind of talk about different emotions, and then bring that into, okay, now how can we communicate our feelings in words? And we all wrote down what we could say to a family member or a friend. And we all wrote a little love note to that person that we're thinking of. And that's how they got to go home, was just talking about how to say what we feel if we can't give a hug or, can't do a touch.
And I think it's so important to point out that because the kids have been doing everything virtual for so long, it was so important to us to be able to offer these in-person classes. And we're starting small so we can do it safely. Thank God we had Maintco and my friend Ina Tuller behind us, helping us to get the equipment we needed to get, COVID safe in our center. And we're starting small, but it's really important that these kids have that interaction, that social interaction. And the combination of Aviva and Judy is just, it's magical. And I'm so excited that we're able to do this. And so art and music is really, and tell us a little bit more about what the kids are going to be learning. It's not just an art class. It's not just music. It's really, each week, you guys were blowing me away. Each week you're going to have some new concept.
Yeah, so the first 5 weeks is about the love languages. So next week is physical touch. So we're just going to talk about how music interacts with our body. And we're even going to talk a little bit about chakras, not too much because I don't know too much about it, but I think it's really interesting how tonalities affect our bodies. Higher pitch affects our head, and then those lower tones, we feel them in our gut and our belly. We feel them in our toes. So music is such a whole body experience. And then we're going to give it that visual. So the art and music, Viva, especially us working together, she's really a visual learner and I'm an auditory learner. So we can kind of reach those two different kids or those two different young adults to really express what they need to express. So maybe they don't like art, or maybe it's scary at first, or maybe music is scary. And so coming across in both directions so that whatever they feel most comfortable, they can express that. And if they just want to do art right now and they just want to listen and just be a part of it, that's fine. But our hope is that as we progress in our classes, we'll not only just talk about love languages, but we'll talk about the 5 senses, and we'll talk about, different things in music, different genres, or we'll talk about different types of art. So we're always going to learn. What Aviva and I would like to do is always learn these bigger concepts, but learn them in small, easy steps while expressing ourselves and learning it in more of a different way, more of how it would be used in our own lives.
And that's I think the truly incredible thing about what you guys are doing is that you're really kind of teaching kids how to communicate through these different aspects of art. And I think art is communication, and when you use it to communicate, it can be an incredibly powerful tool. And it also makes you, it's also a wonderfully kind of easy way to teach people how to communicate because it's so visual or so auditory.
Right.
And that's the way we learn. And that's the way we
all
learn.
About that individual. And that's why I think it's really cool. We can keep it to a small class right now, is just make it very individualized to each person and seeing how each person takes on what we're giving them. Because each of the art projects we did on Wednesday were all very different. One individual did them almost like a movie. Like each soundtrack was a different part of the movie and how it moved through. And he drew pictures of the situation he was hearing and feeling in his head. And then other ones were just really coloring in like what the music felt like, if it was shapes or if it felt like swirls or fireworks. And so just embracing the music and letting the art kind of talk for itself. So yeah, just how each of us are very individualized and how we learn and understand, especially communication is so important, especially right now. It's to communicate ourselves when we need space. And we always go through the rules, which we did at Camp Ed, was I just let them know that they have the right to ask for space if someone's too close to them, or if they feel that someone's in their cozy craft cube, what we called it for.
I love that.
Was, that's your space. And if you see someone not wearing a mask and you feel uncomfortable, you can let them know. And so using those tools in our small groups so they can feel really comfortable. And my hope is that they'll be able to do that anywhere they go. They'll be able to express themselves.
So our classes are very small, as Judy said. We only have a few spots left in each. We're starting a waiting list for Wednesday because it was such a popular class. But we have extended our class enrichments to a 90-minute course. So parents can have a little more respite time and the kids can really get into the groove. So it's a nice, reasonably long class, 90 minutes. And if you want to sign up for this amazing class, we can get you on a waiting list. And we still have some availability for a Viva Sunday class, but call right today.
Who do they call? Who do they write?
You can reach out to me, Navah at asnerfamilycenter.org, or Shelby at asnerfamilycenter.org. And you do not want to miss this class because Judy and Aviva are amazing and magical, and the art room is incredible. I'm blown away by that art. It is. It's so beautiful. But anyway, Judy, thank you so much for being with us today and filling us in on the art of music, which I want a shirt that says that. That's our next thing, is we're going to start selling the shirts.
Yeah.
But I love it.
And that's Wednesdays and Sundays.
No. Wednesday is the art of music, 4:30 to 6. Sunday is all things art with Aviva from 11:30 to 1 p.m. And reach out to us and sign up today.
All right, Judy. We'll talk to you soon.
Have a great weekend.
You too.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, Judy.
And Judy also hosts our Music with Judy Which
on
is
Mondays,
every Monday at
yes.
3 o'clock.
And she's the director of Camp Ed, which
That's right.
we're going to, God willing, have another winter mini camp coming up.
We are.
Yes.
We are indeed. So okay.
Back to our subject.
Back to the baby.
Back to the baby. No, you heard, if you were listening earlier, you heard Matt and I's good friend Kat speaking about her experience with Marcello, her son, and we mentioned our really, really dear friend Feta, and her beautiful son Mohammed, who passed this past weekend. And Matt and I had just interviewed Feta, and we really had, this is a shock to all of us, but especially our community that was so close to Feta. And so we wanted to replay our special show with Feta, honoring her on Monday at 3 o'clock. We're going to be having that show, not at 3 o'clock.
No, it'll be in place of, it'll be right after Music with Judy.
Sorry. So it won't be at 3 o'clock. It'll be at 4 o'clock.
Well, no, it'll actually be at like 3:20.
It'll be at 3:20. But please tune in on Monday, and we're going to replay our tribute show to our beautiful friend Feta.
And we can't pay tribute to her enough. She was an inspiration, and she continues to be an inspiration. And please watch that on Monday. And we will forever be honoring her because she was an incredible person. So until next week, we will say, keep your seatbelts on.
Bye, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. One of the things I'm most proud of is our mental health department, where we provide low-cost counseling to special needs individuals and their families. During times like this is something that everyone can use.